Creative industries are behind everything. Every song, every app, every advert. Yet we are the industry left behind and forgotten about in this difficult time. The music industry has been affected more than most, with the closing of venues and studios affecting people's ability to do what they love. So, if you'd just like to introduce yourself?
Ben Jones, and I'm a self-employed sound engineer, sound designer and mix engineer.
Hi, I'm Romy. I'm a musician and a creative.
I'm Matt Reed. I'm the lead singer and songwriter for The Optimists.
Hi, I'm Guy. I play the bass.
How has the coronavirus pandemic affected your work with music?
In every way, shape and form. Every show, every tour, every gig, everything.
You know, like the songwriting stuff, it's like, you know, you can sort of just do that at home. And that's how it was for the first couple of weeks. Like, it was actually all right. The gigging side of things, obviously everything like went to a complete standstill.
It's given me a lot more time to do writing and think about what I'm going to be doing rather than just spontaneously doing it.
Has the pandemic affected your motivation or enjoyment to do what you do?
Oh yeah, hugely, especially since this second lockdown, because work before was active, it was going out, meeting people, but when your whole life turns into sending emails, you do lose the love for it.
Have you found ways of like keeping yourself kind of going then?
Like, you just kind of had to change the way you work. You do stuff for fun instead of doing it for money. So you know what I mean? Like, bands would come to you and they say, oh, well, I've recorded these stems at home, can you mix it, sort of thing. It's kind of made me and a lot of people focus not so much on the money, but actually just doing stuff to help out other people.
Things were looking up, like, let's just say that. Things were looking up and we were getting really excited for this year. And then obviously it hit, like we just had this huge sort of break.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it's just frustrating because the ball has stopped rolling.
Has lockdown and COVID had a big effect on like your long-term plans?
Yeah, it definitely has. So my whole thing is live sound. That's what I love doing. But I think now I've had to kind of readjust and think, okay, well, that may not be coming back in quite the same way that I want to. Let's explore more studio options. Let's learn more about this industry.
I think it stunted me in I could have been able to travel more to network, to go and potentially tour in a different part of the country and stuff. And I have been able to just go to gigs, which is where I've been able to network as well.
Obviously you've talked like about gigs. Has the closing of venues affected you professionally and recreationally then?
I think I just miss going to gigs and I miss doing gigs. Sometimes, you know, when I go to write songs, I draw inspiration from, you know, those gigs or something, you know, like stuff that's happened during that night of the gig, like I'll write in a song.
The smaller venues are going to be the ones that are going to struggle the most, I think. Like, the only way they're going to make profit is if they're selling a lot of drinks, all those tickets that are way above the price they should be. And then it's going to come to the point when people aren't going to want to pay that expensive price for a ticket.
Obviously we had that failed government advertising campaign. It's shifted very much away from the creative industries. It's like the government has forgotten about us. Do you agree with how they've handled that?
No, of course, any rational person doesn't.
I didn't agree with it at all, and I was quite angry. I mean, I'm not a very political person, but you know the government's doing something wrong if non-political people are starting to take an interest in it.
I understand their point and I understand their message, but the way it was conveyed was ridiculous.
I just think they were oblivious to the actual factor of how impressionable creative and the creative industry and the music industry is. The music industry brings billions of pounds into economy, and I just don't think they realise that.
And it's the kind of thing you just can't throw money at. You need to help organise and facilitate events to happen.
But they also haven't supported many industries, just the ones that are relevant to them. They haven't made it easy to, when they lifted restrictions, they didn't really do anything to help people go back to working in music.
I think there is help there if you know where to look. That still doesn't mean there's enough. I think the response to the help in the arts was way too slow.
They completely neglected us for like the first 4 months. We had to plead and beg for them to give us funding.
And I'm not saying, you know, any other industry is less important, but we make up a huge amount of this country's GDP. So no, I I don't think it's been handled correctly, but I think it is getting better.
It's a very difficult industry to get into, so you're like, I need to do as much as I can, as quick as I can. Now I'm kind of like, I'm going to take it slowly and I'm going to make sure I'm doing it properly rather than quickly.
I've definitely learned more because I've had the time and I've had the opportunity, which I wouldn't really have.
It's a bit weird, you know. Like it's half and half. Like there have been some benefits, like probably value gigs more than ever, and songwriting as well. Like having that time just to like write demos. Like
Creatively, yeah, I speak for other people as well that I've spoke about this subject. It's been an interesting one. It's been terrible and wonderful, all together, all in one big ball.
Left and right, selling wine. I'll have a bite, medals in the